I got a call after we finished Escape, I don't know, a month later, from Beverly Hills, and she said, listen, we'd like you to coordinate this little movie we're doing. I want to come on over and talk to me. So I went over to her office, and we had a little chat about this movie that she was going to do. Some guy wearing a mask now. Mind you, I hadn't seen Halloween 1, so I really didn't know what it was about, but I knew he wore a mask. So she said, you have to go down the hall and meet the director. Oh, a latecomer.
I was already here.
You got tired of waiting and went home, right?
We're not going to repeat, so you catch up.
I'm here for you, go ahead.
This is the story everybody knows about how I got the job on the movie. It's really hurting my butt. Anyway, so I start down the hall to meet the director, Rick Rosenthal. And there's 3 or 4 offices, I guess 3 going down the hallway. He's at the door at the end of the hallway. I get about halfway or so down, and there's an empty office except for a desk, a chair, and this rubber mask is laying on the desk. So I went in and got the thing, and I put it on. And I walk down to his doorway, and I stand there and stare at him. And he says, who are you? I didn't answer. Just looked at him. He says, who the hell are you? I took the mask off. I said, I'm Dick Warlock, and I'm here to talk to you about the job as a stunt coordinator on this little movie. Oh, okay. Like he didn't appreciate what I did. I went over, we sat down, and by the time the meeting was over, everything was good. You know, he was calm. And as I was leaving, I carried the mask with me, and I turned around, I said, is there any reason I can't play this guy? He looked me up and down, and he said, I don't care if Deborah doesn't. So I marched down the hallway. Deborah, the meeting went fine, and he said I could play this guy if you don't care. I said, I don't care. So that's how I got the job. Yes, it was that simple. Most everyone knows it, except maybe Edie here. Stephen Edie. See, it's an interesting little thing. He emailed me, and he said he and his wife were coming. His name is Steve. And I said, oh, it's Edie coming. And then he writes back, said, no, her name is Juanita. Steve and Edie, you know, what was their last? Lawrence, right? Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. I doubled Steve Lawrence running on top of a train once at a pilot for a television series. So anyway, that's an inside joke with these two. And they came just to say hello, if you can imagine. They drove here from Saskatchewan, Canada. Wasn't that what it was? It was
They win.
You're really here to check on the pipeline.
He was looking for a job on the way down. But okay, does anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask before we start this?
How long did it take to film that whole movie?
I think it was close to 5 weeks. I think total.
Was it filmed in a town or was it on a set?
Well, part of it. Actually, no, there were no sets that I remember except the fire at the end. That was on a soundstage near Paramount Studios. It's called Producer Studio, and they built the hallway, the drinking fountain, and all that, and that's where they lit me on fire. We did that twice. I got burned on my forearms the first time, and they wrapped me up with stuff, and we did it again. The rest of it was filmed at various locations in and around Los Angeles, Pasadena, the Santa Clarita Valley. You know, they used facilities that were closed, except for the exterior of the hospital was filmed at a veterans hospital in Van Nuys. On Sattercoy and Plummer, I think. No, it wasn't Sattercoy and Plummer. Anyway, it's right off of Sepulveda and Sattercoy.
You should tell them about the ramp on the
Where you had to fall off.
Well, in the first movie, Jim Winburn, doubling Myers, they used the back of the house for the fall when she gets shot 6 times, or 7 times actually. I think the gun went off or something. Anyway, he fell off of that and he did a great job. They wanted me to duplicate it, but you have to do it from the front of the house. Okay, I'll go up outside. We'll put a couple of boxes down there with a tarp on top of it. And the thing hit me right here, the railing. There's a railing there. So I tried it, and I ended up going over my face, just boom. Shoot, I gotta get on. So I had him build me a ramp, about 5.5, 6 feet long. And I get up there and I go off the thing and boom, I hit backwards like it's supposed to. And wouldn't you know, the best of fans, all the fans around the country say, hey, what was the cheating with the with the thing that right up the ref? So then I got to get into explaining about that. Nothing goes perfect. And I'll tell you, the best of fans will catch it, no matter how you try to read something. What about this? Yeah, okay, you got that. All right, that's the ramp conversation. So what else? That's it? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Did you get any other injuries besides the burns on your arms?
No, ma'am.
No?
No.
That's crazy.
I've been fortunate. I've dislocated this shoulder twice. Once on the original rollerball with James Caan, and the other one was on a picture that nobody's ever seen. It was called The Relic. You seen that?
Yeah. Saw that in the theater.
Did you?
I think I did, yeah.
That's 3 weeks. Good.
Several times.
We come in on a helicopter over Chicago. We land on top of the museum, jump off we didn't land, we jumped off the chopper. We went to a great big glass skylight. Bust the skylight out, hook up. I'm the first one down. I'm coming down the rappel, the rope, and the thing comes, the relic comes and nails me. Wow! And I fly off about 30 feet. We're raised back here with the black hat, New York Yankee guy, and it bashed into some tables. Well, I dislocated doing that one. And that was the second time. And it was stiff for a long time. I couldn't do anything with it. And because I'm exercising and using my Chuck Norris Total Gym, I can move my arm again, thank God. I mean, really, thank God. So that's the story of the injuries. Otherwise, the only other injuries I've ever had are as a result. Am I talking too loud?
Explosions in your ear.
Oh yeah, but that's I was done with this guy, and I had to run down some steps, jump into a car, and there was a girl driving. She takes off, the door slams shut, and the special effects guy hits a button and blows the back window out. Well, even though I took those little spongy things and put them in here and took these big monsters out, I didn't have these back then. When it was all over, I couldn't hear anything except it sounded like people talking through crunched newspapers. Terrible. So I lost a lot of my hearing, and that's why I have to wear these things. But that was it. That's the only thing I've ever suffered. But I didn't even think about that injury. But I broke a few bones. Ride motorcycles with my kids on the weekends. I didn't rehearse it, you know what I mean? Anyway,
Did you meet Jamie Lee Curtis at all?
Did I what?
Meet Jamie Lee Curtis at all?
Did I meet you? I fell in love. But I was married and I'm... This is Rodney Danger. But, I don't know if we could have had something going. I know she was real friendly to me the last time I saw her in Chicago. But she's married, got kids, and I was married, of course, and now I'm married again, so, no, I just watched the Tina commercials. Anyway, anybody else got a question?
What was the first film that you got to break?
My first film?
Yeah.
A little movie with Marty Robbins. Out of the El Paso, how's that song go?
Out of the Gunfighter?
Yeah.
How's it go?
Out in West Texas.
That's all I can remember.
Anyway, it was called Ballad of a Gunfighter, 1960. And I had my real name in the credits, but I'm not going to divulge that my name is Lemon. Of course, it's on all the books you got today. Richard Anthony Lemming, now called Warlock. But my very good friend Jerry Vance gave me that name. He called me one day and he said, Dick, I know you're having trouble because they mix up you and Von Deming. So he said, I just saw a good movie called Warlock. who were the Anthony Quinn and
Richard Widmark.
yes, yeah, you got it. And he said, change your name to that. He said they won't forget it, they won't mispronounce it, and so anyway, I changed it to Warlock in 1961 or something, and it's been that ever since. And more people know me by that name than by my real name. Everybody in this business has a phony name. Both of my sons go by it. One writes music for films, the other one's an actor. So, yeah. Okay, there's that one.
I have a question.
What's that?
I want to find out if I told these folks a tale. At the end of Halloween 1,
Yeah.
were there 3 masks left that you started with in 2, and then you ended up with 1 when the movie was over?
The story that was told to me is that was the only mask left from the first movie. It resided in a box under her bed from the time they finished the first movie till we started the second.
What did you wear when you did your fire burns?
That was one that they created over a mask that they made one. It was one of the Don Post, $29 ones, or $40 ones or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, the same guy, Tommy Lee Wallace, who created the first mask out of a William Shatner mask, Captain Kirk. That's where Michael Myers' mask came from. And you probably all knew that one. But I had the original that she used, or they used in the first movie, and she gave it to me at the end of the film. I said, hey, can I take this? And she said, yeah, we're never going to do another Michael Myers. Little did she know. So, Halloween 3 came out, and I got a job on that as the assassin, went around ripping people's heads off and stuff. But as we all know, they went on all the way up to 9, I guess, and they're now getting ready to do another one.
Yeah.
God, he went from 5'8" to 6'8". But I had the hockey mask. I mean, I had the hockey mask too. I just sold the hockey mask that was used in part 3, 4, and 5. Oh boy. Anyway, I sold the mask, the coveralls, the boots, the Olrod knife, and the scalpel to a friend up in Ohio, and he was supposed to show it. He had 2 haunted houses. He still has. He was going to show it every other year. Alternate. I don't know whether he does that or not. I know I went up the first year he had it out. I put it on a dummy and we took pictures with it and stuff like that. But that's the story of the mask. Any more?
I tell you.
How about you, Red? You want me to get dirty? She likes bad boys. I'm not a bad boy. I like bad boys.
I love Halloween too.
Yes.
You mentioned you worked on rollerball.
Yes.
Was that all the way down in Pinewood in England?
It was at the Olympic Village in Munich, Germany.
Oh.
In the basketball hall is where they built that big track. They didn't know, that was from a short story in a magazine that the idea came about of it. But they didn't know they could even play the game, and by the time the movie was over, we could actually play rollerball. Yeah, it was good. Good game. Hard, but it was good. I got knocked out for 3 days on it. But again, I was goofing around. I wasn't, but one of my buddies was. It was lunchtime, and I was skating backwards around the track, just skating along. And all of a sudden, I'm on my head and I feel it. He was laying on the track, and when I went by, he raised his leg up and tripped me. Down I went. I said, man, I don't feel good. I went down in the infield, laid down on a curdy, and woke up 3 days later in the Munich hospital. What went on? I don't know. Anything else before we get into the...
How about, so you did on Family Plot, the Hitchcock film.
Yeah. I saw Hitch on some other movie on the set. You know, I was just hanging out at Universal watching it, and I didn't see him. This is the case where we work on a lot of films on second unit. We're doing the action stuff on second unit, but we never see the actors. It's like Jaws. When I did the cage sequence, it was a couple of months after the movie was done. And some of you may remember an actress named Esther Williams. Yeah. MGM had a giant tank, it had portholes around it where they used to do all the stuff, all this dance stuff, you know. And that's what they used for the shark thing. They put Bruce in there, and he worked very well in clear water. In salt water, he didn't work so well. He worked very well, and we spent a week shooting that sequence. It's on the screen, what, 20 seconds of that. So that's the kind of business it is. There was a guy that, he's not in the room, but asking me earlier today that, do you get bored or are you excited all the time? Is it fun? I think she asked a couple of questions like that, didn't you, Lynn? That's okay. Go back to sleep, sweetie.
Did they use a small cage and a small shark for the scene to make it look big?
Well, they hired a guy named Rizzo. Can't remember his first name. I'd like to at least pay him that respect, but they had an audition. They built a little tiny cage about like this. They had a little tiny wetsuit, a little tiny scuba tank, and they were going to use a little tiny person and get a big shark to make it look even bigger. Right. So they have an interview for the little people, and he's Carl Rizzo. That's his name. He comes to the studio. They bring him in the office. He's got a cut on his head. And Steven says, "What happened to you?" He said, "Well, I was on the way over here and I had an automobile accident, but I didn't want to miss the interview." Steven said, "You got the job." "Can you scuba dive?" "Well, of course I can scuba dive." So they put him on a boat or whatever they did. They got him to Australia with two people, Ron and Valerie Taylor.
Right.
The shark experts, which they are. They tried to teach him how to scuba dive because they found out he couldn't when they were over there. He couldn't clear his mask or anything. So they felt they had enough to let him do something. So they chummed in an 18-foot great white. They got the cage, the thing, and the suit, arm, dropped the cage down where he could get in it, and all the particulars about it, I don't know. The shark cage went through the bridle, which was attached to the cage, got stuck in there, and he's thrashing around. Pretty soon, the cage is gone, the arm is gone, 60 feet of water. Some people said, "Carl's in the cage, we're going back." And he panicked. Somebody went down to the below deck and said, "He's down here," and he's pulling his wetsuit off. "Get me the hell out of here, I ain't doing this." So they had no footage at the end of the movie. So they called Jesse Wayne, a friend of mine who used to double Mickey Rooney. Jesse said, "I can't do it because I'm busy." But the truth of the matter there, he couldn't scuba dive. But he didn't say so. So I got the job. And we went down there to the tank for a week, filmed that. That's the story. But I never met Scheider. I never met any of those guys.
Tell them about what happened when you were in the cage.
The shark was, first it's a round tank. Steven Spielberg is over here, looking through a porthole. You got the cage here, and you got Bruce facing this way. Over here you got Whitey Crumb, who's using one of these gadgets that you fly an airplane with to move the shark. They can do it this, sideways and stuff. Steven is over here talking to Whitey on the microphone. Move the shark here, but they're doing all the stuff. They send that shark in, it busts through the cage, hit me in the stomach, knocked my regulator out of my mouth, and scratched me around. And I'm trying to get the regulator. I'm trying to signal Freddie Zendar, who's the stunt coordinator. I'm drowning up there. Get me out. So I finally get the regulator back in my mouth, and we finished that day and went on with it for a week. But I almost bought the farm. I may not have died because somebody would have rescued me, but so that's that story. I've had a lot of things come close. I was on Pearl 41 over at Hawaii, and I had to dive off of a boat this is on, the war story of Pearl Harbor. The water's on fire and I have to swim out to a boat that's about 45, 50 yards out. So I dive off of this little thing that they used to take the sailors to a ship or from a ship, dove into the water, thought, well, I've seen this on TV. I'll open a hole in the fire. There's nothing there in the way of air, man, because the fire is sucking all the oxygen out. No, get out. I just barely got to the other side and got myself up. But, you have those kinds of things. Disney, airplane. I climb out, I'm up on the wing, a cat from outer space. I'm good. Upside down, hanging from the thing. About a month later, the pilot runs his plane into a mountain. He had a heart attack. What happened was, I didn't have a chute. He said, well, if you don't wear a chute, I'm not wearing a chute. Neither one of us had a chute. Most everything, like I said, is rehearsed, but some things you can't rehearse. So,
Why
you know, start the movie or
why would a man in his right mind go into this business?
what was that?
Why would a man in his right mind go into this business?
Who said I was in my right mind? I wanted to do that since I was a kid. I came to California and I saw a television series called The Range Rider.
Yeah, sure.
This guy, Dick Jones, Dick West. I wanted to be, so I wrote letters to Flying A Productions. I want to be his double. I never heard of him back. I was only 14.
That was Jock Mahoney.
Many years later, I met Jock, which is another story. I'll tell you that. You got time?
Yeah, I hear that, yeah.
This guy, Dick Warlock, who played the Swamp Thing on TV. Remember the Swamp Thing?
Yeah.
He called me one morning, he said, I know you're a fan of Jocko. He said, we're down here at Jerry's Deli, come on down. Bear Hudkins is here, another cowboy stunt guy. I don't know whether you guys have ever heard of Bear Hudkins.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go down there to meet Jocko. And they're in a little cubicle, because they had like 5 cubicles where it's kind of a private thing, right? So I walk in, and Dick is here, standing up, Bear's here, and Jock's across the table. And he says, Jock, I want you to meet Dick Warlock. He's always wanted to meet you. Oh, yeah? I go to shake hands with him, and he says, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And he shook my hand. This is Jock Warlock, man. He just busted up. They were playing a gag. It worked. And I lived up the hill from Dick Jones for 20 years.
Dick Jones?
We probably shopped at the same markets, same gas stations, and I called him one day. Another stunt guy gave me his phone number, so I called him up and said, Dick, I'm a real fan and I'd like to meet you. Will you meet me for lunch? So, yeah, okay. So we met at Jerry's Deli. He comes in the door. I said, it's got to be him. He's shorter than I thought. A little bigger than I thought. A little less hair than I thought. I wouldn't have recognized him if I'd have walked past him in the market. I did, I swear. We sit down, we're having lunch, and he's looking at me. I said, why are you looking at me like that, Dick? He said, I just want to know why the hell you wanted to meet me. And then I told him the story about the letters and all of that. And we became sort of friends. Every time I went to LA, I'd have lunch with him if I could. And talk to him on the phone once in a while, and I was really saddened and heartbroken to hear about what
He was a
happened.
sweet guy, very sweet guy.
Everybody here loved him, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
What year was this that you had lunch with him?
What year?
Yeah, was it?
Can you remember? Huh?
You had lunch with him before we moved away, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because we moved away in 98.
Yeah.
So probably 97.
96, 7. Somewhere in there.
Very nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but he told some stories about the stunt guys that didn't like him. They didn't like Jock either, because those guys could do their own stunts and do them better than the cowboy stunt guys, and they didn't like that because they were being cut out of a job. But when you're as handy as Dick and Jocko, they love doing it. Of course, they both paid later on with the aches and the broken and.
Jocko could jump over a car standing next to him, then jump over it.
He could line up 3 horses and jump over 2 and land in the dirt. He had a pair of legs on him.
I think Dick Jones did that too.
I don't know about that. I mean, but he was handy. He and Fred Crone did most of the fights that you ever saw on television. Same 2 guys. You know? Fred and him were buddies, and he used to go to lunch once a month with Fred and Jackie Williams. I don't know whether you've ever heard of Jackie Williams or not. He's a cowboy stunt guy. He had a mare, falling horse, and she'd rear and fall on him. And he'd get up and he'd say, "You all right?" "Yeah." She never touched me. She mashed him every time, and he'd never say so. You know? He passed away, and then it was just Fred, Dick. So I went when I could and kind of made the 3rd thing there, because I sponsored Fred into the association, Stuntmen's Association, as an honorary member. And then shortly after that, Fred passed away. So Dick was he was lonesome, because he really missed those guys. You know? And I couldn't fill their shoes by any means. But anyway, ready to watch a movie?
Oh, I was gonna, just a couple more movies, because I know they're not tired of hearing me talk. How about the Stephen King movies you worked on?
The who?
The Stephen King films. I think it was Christine and Firestarter.
Yeah, I worked on both of those.
That's it.
Yeah. Christina was just one day of doing chases.
Yeah.
I'd had a falling out with Deborah Hill,
Oh, okay.
and I won't go into that, because that's kind of a sad story, but because of that, the tentacles to it went way out.
Oh.
Larry Franco, who's Kurt Russell's brother-in-law, called me and he said, "Hey, meet me for lunch." And I think it was Jerry's Deli again. There was 2 Jerry's Delis in the valley, one at the west end, one near Laurel Canyon. And so I did, and he said, "What did you do?" What? I said, "Well," I explained the story to him, and he said, "You really stepped on your weenie." You know? He said, "I can't hire you anymore." I said, "You kidding me?" He said, "No, I can't, man, because the word is out, you know, in their group."
Yeah.
So Terry Leonard called me on Christine. I went in one day, and it was like, "I can't have you back tomorrow because they know you're here now." And so I never worked for those people again. Nobody.
Well, without going into the story, Dick kept his ethics. He
Yeah, it was an
didn't
ethical
want to do something
thing.
they wanted him to do, and that's without going into the story.
I had to risk the safety of some stunt people, little people that I hired for a movie.
And they would blackball you for that?
It's Hollywood.
It's an ugly business, it really is.
How about Mel Brooks?
Oh, I love Mel Brooks. I had 4 pictures with Mel Brooks. I always thought it was 5, but when I really count them up, it shows why I'm terrible at math. I worked on 4. Hi, Larry, nice to come. But Mel should have, any of you seen Spaceballs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He should have fired me off of the movie, and I'll try and tell you why. Really? I think I told you this story, didn't I?
I think you did.
There's a scene with John Candy and Bill Pullman. They're in the motorhome, flying through space. They got the princess in the back, and they're talking about her. And the tail is coming up and getting in Bill's face and going on and on. It's a funny scene. I'm down here, down some steps, because it's on the stage. It's on what's called the gimbal, so they can move it, make it like it's flying. Mel is 50 feet away. He's using a monitor, which you can see everything the camera sees through the monitor. That's a new way of doing it. It's high-tech stuff, you know. Anyway, he's sitting way off there, and I'm listening to the dialogue, and I'm watching him, and John Candy had a line where he says, "She doesn't look Jewish." That's the Brooks humor. And it wasn't coming off right. It sounded funny. And I looked at Mel, and he's, "Yeah, can we do that again?" And after about the 3rd or 4th time, I said, "Mel, just a minute, I'll tell him what you do." Yeah, Warlock, get over here." I went, "Yes, sir." He said, "You don't do that because everybody wants to be the director then." And he says there's only one director on this picture, and it's me.
Was that Mel Brooks?
Huh?
Was that Mel Brooks talking?
Yes, eating my, I have all this room back here in his jeans. Anyway, yes, sir, and I said, you should fire me, just. So, break for lunch, he comes back, he's a little early, I'm there, he says, come here. Yeah, yes, sir. He said, listen, he said, I'm sorry I yelled at you like that, but he said, there is only one director on the movie, and it's me. And he said, you start trying to do that and, understand and so on, just forget it, it's all right, it's all right.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was. But he should have sent me home. I know that, you just don't do things like
cool
that.
that he
It was a
didn't,
stupid, I pulled some boners in my life, that was a big one for me. Anyway, John Candy's a sweetheart. What a nifty guy. Miss him too. But Mel is not looking too good physically.
No.
He's getting up there, and we're all gonna go sometime.
He's a funny guy.
Yes, he is.
Funny guy.
Okay, that's my baseball story. Do you have?
Oh, well, I was just a couple of, you've done a lot of TV, and a lot of horror TV type stuff. Which do you like best, working on TV or movies? Which is more preferable?
They're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no difference. It's features, you got a little more time.
Yeah.
You got more things to do. TV is hurry up, rush, rush, rush. And features can be the same way. With stunt guys, they usually wait till the end of the day, hurry up, we're losing the light, let's burn this house, or break that car.
Dangerous stuff quick.
Yeah, that's it. And you waited all day.
Yeah.
It's a hurry up, wait business. Anyway,
Was the creature and relic computerized like they do today, or?
was the
In
creature?
relic?
Yes.
It was computerized.
Yes, I was pulled by a cable. I came down and the rope was cut off about 2 feet below my butt. I'm hanging there. Hold on, we gotta move a light over here. Just a minute, Dick. Sure, okay. Hold on, baby. We gotta move it. Anyway, when it finally hit with action, I went about 6 inches and the cable got me and jerked me over from here to that wall. Good night, Larry. Eat them all, bud.
Had to put it.
Boy, I got into him, and he just had him right there. Oh, yeah, he's gonna have me back, because that guy's really interesting.
If it's not 6 guns or horses, he's not paying it.
I couldn't tell any horse stories. Don't have any. Yeah, so it was digital, the monster thing. I thought that whole scene sucked. It was the way they put it together, it was terrible. And Stan Winston made a head of me. But the thing, once it gets me down, those picture things come and cut my head off. And it was exciting from what I heard. To around, said it didn't come that way on film. It didn't look that good at all. I didn't think. You remember it?
It's been a while since I've seen it.
I've seen it 10 times, I like it every time.
It was forgettable. Yeah, it was. I know you got one more question. That's it.
Anybody else? Any questions?
I got one.
Got one.
You may have said this earlier and I might have missed it. Do you still have any of the masks or props from the show?
You missed it. I sold all that stuff. Like I said, I had the mask, the coveralls, the boots, the hockey. They bought.
They all say, do you have any?
I had the whole outfit, and I sold it to a friend for peanuts. I didn't know what it would be worth. But,
You got 3 for 3.
oh yeah, yeah, nobody's interested in those, but I have one skull, one pumpkin, and one witch mask that were screen used from Halloween 3.
That's cool.
But I had the hockey mask for Friday the 13th, part 3, 4, and 5. One mask used at all of them. Yeah. Sold that too. Yeah, I bought a motorcycle, a place at the beach. No, I'm kidding.
When you did Firestarter, did you ever come to Raleigh, North Carolina on location? Because they did a shot at Research Triangle Park.
Went to Wilmington.
Well, they used a building in RTP called the Board Welcome Building, for it looked so futuristic,
Yeah.
and that's in that Firestarter movie.
Yeah, but I only worked at that big home, that estate. That was the only place we did go out on a highway, because the truck with the guy from Jackie Gleason's show, what's his name? The neighbor? He, I think, when the truck went by, and I said, hey, that's him. You know, I got his license number, is that we were changing a tire? Me and the other guy, Horowitz or Stenowitz. I was Knowles and he was Stenowitz. But then the rest of it was on the property there, somewhere in Wilmington. Yeah. That was a fun picture.
Did you ever rent this studios?
Dino De Laurentiis?
Yeah, he had a studio down
They
there.
built that, whatever facility, they built the first section of it. I don't know what it looks like now, but that was the first film to be done down there in its entirety, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah, I died a lot in that one. It was fun though. It was one of the hardest burn that I ever did was at the end of Halloween 2, because it was all inside. And the heat just, really generated. It got real hot in there. You know, I took, well, you can see it. I was trying to do that walk thing real slow. And then I started a little twitchy, and the next thing you know, on my face, and my son and the rest of the effects guys, the safety guys come in and put me out.
I read that steam is when you have got suit on, it gets too hot, you get sweat and turns to steam.
Exactly.
And that's a bad thing?
You don't want to sweat. But now, see, that was in this bulky suit that I wore for both Halloween and Firestarter. Right now, they've developed a gel. It was made accidentally. In Australia, there was a big fire at a warehouse, and it burned everything except where these 55-gallon drums had spilled over and the ingredients had spread out on the floor. That didn't burn. They couldn't figure out why. So they started testing it, and they used it to put a little in her hand, right. You couldn't feel it. I mean, you couldn't feel the heat through it. Wow. So someone got a hold of it, and now they use it all the time in the business. And so now you look more normal. You know, if you remember in the Halloween thing, I mean, I've got the gloves on and my fists look like I've got baseball gloves on or something. But you had to wear that kind of stuff.
And you only had about 7 seconds to do a burn, or how long?
No, I probably had 40 or 50.
It was really that long? Okay.
Yeah, because I had an air bottle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had one of those
Okay.
too. Yeah. I did, I forgot Hindenburg. I did the Hindenburg too. The nose cone, when the guys jump out of there on fire, I did that one too.
Do you get nervous, you get afraid before you ever do a stunt? I mean,
I can't say I get afraid, but there's a feeling you get of, you've done your best to make it safe, but accidents happen. But you have to have a lot of respect for it, is what it is. You can't lose respect because it'll bite you right in the ass, and you don't want that to happen.
absolutely.
So there's a respect and an apprehension. Well, I can't really describe the feeling.
It's basically a little preparation, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Being ready
Yeah.
for it.
Have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah.
Once that first punch goes, you just go. I mean, there's no
Yeah,
more.
you forget, yeah.
The guy could beat you after death. You don't really feel it until it's all over. Then you go, oh my God.
That's the adrenaline
Yeah.
that's going, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't realize you broke something until it's all over.
Yeah. True. Ready for the movie now?